Good morning, Gooners. Welcome to the Gooners Gone Wild podcast. I'm here with Doc and Ari. What's going on, guys?
What's up, yo
That's good.
yo?
What's up? What's up? I'm your boy VK, and today we're gonna do a Arsenal versus Brighton preview. They play tomorrow, Sunday, May 14th, at the Emirates. And me and the boys are just going to talk about some things that are going on within the club, what we can expect for tomorrow's match, and then we're going to end it off with our score predictions. So first thing we got to point out is, we're undefeated in the past 12 games, we're undefeated 12 games in our past 13. What do you guys think of that?
It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
Not
I
gonna
think
lie.
definitely after our three draws in a row, the boys have definitely picked it up. There's definitely a fire underneath them. Um, and I think you can definitely tell that Arteta's motivated the squad. Um, and there's a lot of leaders in our team, and I think they're really pushing each other to really end strong on the season because we still do have a really good fighting chance. Obviously, it's very dependent on City's results, but there's still hope.
Yeah, of
I think.
course, of course, and we did see last week that Everton does have a good world class performance in them. It's very rare nowadays,
Yeah,
but it
that was
could
a shock.
could come out tomorrow, against Man City.
And they
Um,
need it to stay up, so
yeah, exactly.
they're fighting for their lives here. So
It
And
was
oh, go
a
ahead.
big match. No, you're good. I think that was a big match, especially having the match gives them some confidence to solidify their place in the Premier League again for another season. So I think they're going to come out and put in a good shift. I don't know if we can count on them to get any points from Man City, but it looks better than any of their past matches.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a possibility that Man City might be doing a heavily rotated squad tomorrow. Now, obviously, we see that doesn't necessarily mean that much to Man City, but that is always a possibility when they rotate the squad as well. So, we're still in this. We're still in this. We still gotta believe, Gooners. We still gotta believe. We still gotta believe. The next thing I want to bring up is how good has Jakub Kivior been the past 3 games? Like, ever since the what was it? I think he came in on Man City, and then unfortunately was beat by that ridiculous pass or was that Holding that got beat out by that pass by Holland?
Um, I think it might have been Holding,
Yeah.
honestly,
yeah, I
but
think I
I
believe it was holding.
agree. I completely agree with and big chance given to him by Arteta, especially after he came on against Sporting the first time for his debut and didn't have as good of a showing. I really think he did more of a solid defender right next to him, and he's getting that in Gabriel going with two left-footed center backs. Just worked out well because ever since then and had been starting the past games, our defense looks more solid. Honestly, our midfield and our attacking players look a lot more comfortable as well. And we're finally getting back to after those 3 draws that we had against Liverpool, West Ham, and Southampton. It seems like we're settling back into how we were playing earlier on in the season with both Gabriel and Saliba at the back.
Yeah, and I do think having Holding in the back four, as much as I love Holdini, I do think he did kind of expose a lot of other players, even in the midfield. I know a lot of people were pointing fingers at Partey and saying that you know, he wasn't doing as well of his job defensively, but it's a lot more space he has to cover because Holding isn't positioning quite the same as Saliba, obviously, because he doesn't have the same capabilities. Um, so I think Kiwior has done an excellent job coming in and taking up that position. And it's really incredible that Arteta and our team were able to get a profile like Kiwior because none of us saw that signing coming. Like it's straight out of the Polish league. Like it was so random. Like no one really expected him, and I think he's done an exceptional job so far.
Yeah, he's definitely came in, and you could see that he's starting to grab the games by the scruff of the neck, right? He's getting stuck in. He's actually making those diagonal balls now that we saw so often from Saliba and Gabriel. And I think compared to what we saw in the Sporting game, where he was a little bit nervous, he put in a rash tackle every once in a while. Like we're seeing, he's starting to settle down now, and life in London is kind of picking up for him. So I definitely agree that Kiwior is definitely going to be probably the answer moving forward for the rest of the season with Saliba being out. As much as I love Holding, I'm not a Holding scapegoat artist. I love Holding so much.
Yeah. Holding came in, he did what he had to. He held down the back. He helped sustain us, but we needed a little bit more than what he's been able to give us.
Yeah.
And Kiwior came in and took care of that. And honestly, Gabriel next to him looks a lot more calm, just because Kiwior has been absolutely incredible with the ball at his feet. He looks a lot more calm, collected, and he doesn't have that same nerve that he had in the play.
Yeah. And unfortunately, let's flip the other side of the coin. What's been going on with Gabriel Jesus recently? I feel like he's been quiet. Obviously, he's returning from a pretty serious injury. I think he's only scored once since he's returned, maybe twice. What do you think is contributing to that? Do you think it's just coming from a slow return from an injury, or do you think that maybe he's kind of in his mental a little bit? Or if you completely disagree with me, that's totally fine.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. I don't know. I think he's been exceptional on the ball. Obviously, like he's much more of a link-up player than he is, like a finisher. And he still creates a lot of opportunities in space and draws defenders to him because of how well he dribbles on the ball. I would prefer to see TROSSARD at the number 9, just because I think he's more of a striker than Jesus is. I personally feel Jesus is more of a winger in the way that he is as a player and his play style, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I do think he's been pretty good since he's come back, especially coming back from an injury that he did come back from. Expecting a slow return, slow start back into games whenever he hasn't been getting any minutes because he's been out from injury. I think he's done a really good job of reintegrating back into the team, and you can see how the players around him react to him. Martinelli's been playing better. Saka's been a little bit slower as of late, but they're all performing and producing, especially Odegaard as well. So I think having him in the team, it's not necessarily that he's going to go in and he's going to score 30 goals in a season. He's going to come in, help create chances, and be part of the glue for that front three to just be dynamic, creative, and make goals for each other. Because we're the only team in the Premier League that has 4 players with double-digit goals.
Yes.
And potentially the top 5 leagues in Europe as well. We have 4 players with double-digit goals. And that's because of the creativity of our front floor.
Yeah. And I do think he offers a lot more than just attacking threat. I think when you watch us defend, when he presses, he's just running at them with just such desire to get the ball back, and you can see it in him and Odegaard and Martinelli. We're all pressing cohesively and with so much pace. I think he offers a lot defensively as well in terms of what we want to do and how we want to win the ball back when we do lose possession.
Yeah.
And I will go ahead. Because...
No, it's all good. I do see where you guys are coming from. I definitely agree with a lot of those points. I think the thing that I'm just looking for is I just want to see a little bit more clinical finishing on his end. I think we've seen a couple chances that were, I would say, easy for him for being that player of that high of a caliber. Now, granted, I'm not no next generation Luis Suarez, so you know what I mean. I could have been a difficult finish, and we just don't know it. But just from the looking into it, it just kind of seemed like there was a couple easy chances that he's missed as of recently. I kind of want to see him tighten that up a little bit.
Oh, I completely agree with that too. Because to look at it, he is our forward. He is the one that in the ball in the back. Then it could become a problem or an issue. Our whole team is producing really well. Odegaard is sensational season. Saka's having a season. Gabby's having a sensational season. Now the problem comes if they are not producing goals like they are now. It comes down to our number 9 to be able to get the goals, because that's why we're bringing him in. So he's only had 10 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League this season. And as a 9, that is definitely less than we want to see. He is in double digits, but we'd want to see him up towards that 20 goal mark every single season. Now the question comes in: if he can't produce that consistently, do we need to bring in another player?
Right. No, I totally agree. And you brought up a baller of a player we got on our hands, Martin Odegaard. He's looking to break a record tomorrow.
Yeah.
16 goals in 35 appearances potentially tomorrow. Breaking Kevin De Bruyne's
Crazy.
record from most goals from a midfield position. What do you guys feel about that? I feel like that's pretty sick. We haven't seen a record breaker from Arsenal since Petr Cech.
Yeah.
Not even an original Arsenal.
I just can't believe that Real let him go for how little they did.
What we get him for? 30?
I think it was
he got it for
35.
like 35, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely
is
absurd.
crazy.
Yeah, I honestly will just every Real player that they don't want, they can just keep passing them down to us. I'm okay with taking second hands from Real. You know, Ozil was the last one, and we saw what he did for us, how
That's my
much of
boy.
an impact he had for our club. So
I'm wearing his jersey right now, baby.
Hell
So-
yeah.
you know, maybe it's just the O's. Maybe it's just a special O's. You know,
It's the special
Like,
O's, yes.
It's the special O's that do it for us. So we'll wait for the next special O that Real finds, and when they don't want him anymore, we'll take them off their hands.
No, honestly though, he has been absolutely like Captain Fantastic 100% this season, both in the chances that he's producing, but also the goals that he's scoring. They're not penalties. He's finishing outside the box, he's finishing inside the box, he's making chances for all of our wingers. And honestly, whenever he gets lost in a game and we can't get him the ball, we struggle to create. Like we were searching and striving for a creative Cam for years and years and years. Whenever Ozil wasn't producing, and in between having Ozil, like we went through so many midfielders, and Arsenal needs a creative one. We saw that with Ozil whenever he was producing for us, and now we're seeing that with Odegaard. It's works. It's how Arteta wants to play, and he's just been absolutely fantastic for us.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that throughout the generations too, with like Cesc Fabregas and Santi Cazorla, being that creative engine in that 8/10 position. I'm just glad that a lot of you Odegaard haters are now getting shut up. I was getting tired of seeing those Odegaard tweets. Man has 2 bad games and y'all hop on him like crazy. I'm gonna defend. That's my boy. I'm actually wearing an Odegaard jersey right now. That's my boy. I will defend him. Although I will be the first to criticize, obviously, if there is a bad game being had. So let's talk about our opposition a little bit. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room for Brighton, and that is Alexis McAllister. Are they losing their World Cup winner to Liverpool this summer?
Yes, they are.
Absolutely,
He's gone.
100%.
Yeah.
He's 100% gone.
Like they're not just going to be losing other players, but we can stay on McAllister now. But he has been rock solid for them. Like I think consistency is the right word for him this year. He's produced whenever they needed him, both from penalty spot and creating chances. He's been very good defensively as well whenever they need him. He's just been all around class midfielder, and I think a transition Liverpool will be good for him and good for Liverpool because their midfield is struggling right now.
Yeah.
Especially since we're going to be seeing Milner actually going to Brighton
that's
come next
true.
season.
That is true.
So they're going to have to fill a void there for the future.
James Milner, what a lad. Fucking 38 and he's balling out. Like what? Like that is insane. That is insane. Now we see Brighton has it's kind of been a bogey team for us. We've seen them come to the Emirates the past 2 times and earn successes throughout all competitions. They have won the past 5 encounters with Arsenal, and they're on the bounce from a 5-1 defeat at Everton. Do you think that's going to play in their favor a little bit? Do you think that actually coming to the Emirates tomorrow might put a fire under them and they might, pull a result out of this?
I think the player that gave us the most trouble in past fixtures against them was TROSSARD, and now that he's on our side, I feel confident that we'll get a result against them without difficulty. But I do agree
Especially
that
being at home too.
yeah, especially being at home. But I do think I do highly rate a lot of their players. I think Ferguson is a class striker. I think he's gonna he's gonna develop into a brilliant player. And obviously, everyone is talking about Matoma. He's been on fire all season.
Yeah, the player
I,
that replaced Trossard.
yeah, I think he's world class as well. So I could see us maybe conceding one or two, but I think we'll get the result at home.
Yeah, and especially with what we saw with the new atmosphere that we have this season. Like, how many times has the Emirates been called a
Crazy.
library? Like, this year, it's been rocking off its hinges. We've seen it kind of start to evolve last year as well with the introduction of the anthem. But we're kind of seeing a lot with the I think it's called the Ashton Army coming into that season ticket holder area with the younger generation coming up with the drums and the flares and the flags and all that. So I definitely think that the atmosphere will be on our side tomorrow, and that they'll help us see us through. Lads, I got a question for you. I saw this on TikTok, and I kind of got frustrated, and I knew we were going to have this conversation, so I didn't quite share it with you guys yet. Do you guys think Ramsdale is over or underrated?
Underrated.
I
Yeah,
think he's
in my
underrated.
opinion.
I agree.
He
I
gets
agree.
Yeah.
he gets so much hate for no reason, and actually, the only reason that he gets hate, in my opinion, was because he was relegated 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
with the teams that he was playing with. But the reason that he was relegated was because he couldn't, like, his defenders and the teams that he had in front of him were the reason why he was relegated. He saved them so many times and tried to keep them up, but even if you have a really good goalkeeper, that's not the reason why you're going to stay up.
Right.
So his transfer to Arsenal was looked at heavily as, like, why are we getting this keeper when we already have Leno? Is he going to be challenging Leno for the starting position? And I was honestly one of those people that was questioning the transfer whenever he first came in, just because I wasn't as familiar with how good of a player he was and how good of a keeper he was. Because frankly, whenever we watched his games, he was getting scored on a lot, but that wasn't necessarily his fault.
And I
One,
think
he's a fantastic. Go ahead.
oh no, you go, keep going.
So one, he's a fantastic shot stopper, and two, he's perfect for Arteta's style, which is building out of the back. He has great feet. He can sling a long ball wherever the hell he wants, and he's most of the time very composed. He has his instances where he will just give the ball away for no freaking reason, but he has saved us so many times this season.
I think the reason he gets so much he gets slated so much, and I think it's just what football Twitter does, and I think it's that he just gets compared to a lot of other goalkeepers, and you can't really compare goalkeepers. It's difficult, and like obviously like he's not nearly as good of a shot stopper as like Allison is, like, and Allison's been doing it consistently for how long now? Like he's obviously one of the like top goalkeepers of our generation. Um, so like it's unfair to compare him to Allison in terms of shot stopping, but like overall as a player, like he distributes well. Like Gabe said, like for a while we were calling him the English Pirlo, like in goal, like he was like making some crazy passes. And I feel like he's moved away a bit from that. Like
He
I
has.
haven't
I've been
I haven't
noticing.
seen that as much recently. Like
It's been more outlet passes to like Partey or Odegaard, and not
yeah,
not
like I'd like
diagonal
to see
balls.
him. I'd like to see him like gain some of that confidence back, and maybe sling some good like 30-40 yard diagonal balls like straight into Saka's feet, like the way he was doing
Well,
For sure.
when we first saw him.
oh yeah, well, I mean, he hasn't been doing that with his feet, but the dude's got a cannon for an arm too.
That is
He's
Absolutely.
been
true. That
throwing
is
like
true.
he's been throwing like 30 or 40 yard outlet balls with his hand, just launching them. And I mean, he's been doing a great job of it.
And
DK, what do you think?
not to mention we have 10 clean sheets. We have 10 clean
Yeah,
sheets.
that's huge.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
and
remember the last time we had that many.
and we have that many, even though we're conceding so many goals in games that we shouldn't be. So
Yeah.
he should.
Yeah,
I think
stupid
he should have far more clean sheets than he does.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the underrated statement. I think a lot of people are getting the overrated statements from the TV saves, quote unquote, that he makes. But in reality, like we kind of see this, especially with this new generation of like we like to quote Blue Lock egoists, right? Like if he's got the ego to pull off those saves and make them look good, like why is a save of that caliber that looks good look frowned upon, whereas an easy save that could easily be judged as just like a typical save for a keeper. Why is that praised? Like we see that with De Gea, with his like obviously his feet stopping ability is very incredible.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But like when we see his like handwork with the ball, it's kind of subpar, but yet you consider him one of the greatest Spanish goalkeepers of the generation. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's just because he maybe plays up the camera a little bit, or maybe plays up to the audience a little bit. I think that's where that overrated comes from. But in my opinion, like, if you have the ability to do that and still look good, I think that makes you even more of a baller. That makes you even more of a top class keeper. But I don't like the hate that he gets, and we all have to remember he's 24 or 25 or something like that. Like, he's still very young.
He's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I think he also gets a lot of hate because he's such a shithouser. Like,
yeah, that's
like
true.
you just see him rile up the crowd.
Much.
You just see him rile up the crowd every single game.
Like,
just
he riled up Tottenham opposing fans so much that a fan came down and kicked him in the back when we played him away.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy what he does in the shithouse moments that he has the whole season. It just makes me love him more and more. I mean, he's won I think the past 2 months he's won. Was it the Save of the Month or Keeper of the Month?
Yeah, Castro.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why he's being regarded either as overrated or underrated, because he's being talked about so much, because he's in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have these conversations whenever your keeper is performing, because people are going to want to talk about him, just how good he is.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that we could just look at the save. Oh my gosh, who did we play last week? We played holy crap, why am I forgetting this? The save, the incredible, was it Crystal Palace? It wasn't Crystal Palace.
Well, the Castro save of the month was against Liverpool. It was Salah's shot.
That was absolutely disgusting.
But last week was also arguably, because that was a free goal. I can't believe him. I forget Newcastle. Yeah. Free goal, free header right in front of him, and he somehow just had the reaction to put his palm up in the air.
That the first half could
wasn't even just that save either.
Yeah, and
the first
there was
half could have
others.
easily been 4-0. I think
for sure
against Newcastle.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was brilliant.
All right, so go ahead, Gabe.
No, you're good. I was just gonna keep on talking about that.
You're good.
We got to focus on what we're doing. That was just so satisfying.
Let's talk about Brighton's kind of they kind of fell off. They were fighting for that Champions League spot. Now they're kind of fighting for a Europa League spot. Do you think that the table positions of both of us being, we're fighting for the first place, they're fighting for the 6th or 5th place at the moment, do you think that's going to add a little bit of like fieriness to the game? You think we're going to see maybe a couple yellow cards, maybe even a red card? Do you think that might be a factor for tomorrow?
I do think it's going to be a factor. I don't necessarily think we're going to see any yellows or reds, just because they're not as much of a bully team like Newcastle are.
Yeah, they're not very physical.
No, I don't see them as being very physical, so I don't necessarily think that we'll see the cards, but I definitely think that we're going to get a big amount of fight from Brighton, because right now they're on the cusp, looking at the table. Now, granted, they have 2 less games played than pretty much all teams right now. They have only played 33 matches. Everybody else around them has played 35. We have Aston Villa below them that's on 54 points. They're on 55 points. Tottenham right above them on 57 points. So they have 2 games in hand that they can get points out of. So naturally they're going to be fighting for those points in every single match, because that'll be the difference between potentially getting Europa Conference League or Europa League for them. And that's not even guaranteed, because West Ham has the potential to win the Europa Conference League, and then that would guarantee them a Europa League spot.
Exactly.
And then there would be 1 less. So they have to take their chances. So I think we're going to get a very good fight from Brighton.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's kind of crazy that we might see a Sky Bet Championship team in a Europa competition next year. Sorry, West Ham fans.
Yeah.
And they're gonna want to come out hot after last week, after their game against Everton, where they got thrashed 5-1. Like, they're gonna have a little bit their pride's gonna be hurt a little bit, so they're gonna want to come out straight off the bat and try to prove that they deserve a spot in Europe.
Yeah, for sure. And then do you see Brighton lining up the same way they lined up against Everton last week, or do you think they're gonna make some tweaks?
They're probably gonna make some changes.
Yeah.
Well, Solly March is out with an injury, which is pretty big for us. I think he's been exceptional this season. He's done, even last week when he he came off the bench and immediately they almost produced like a couple like brilliant opportunities. So I
Mm.
think, I think he's been a big part of their success, and having him out injured, I think will be pretty big for us.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And how do you think we're going to line up? Do you think we're going to make many changes, or do you think we're going to stick to the same starting 11, which is something Arteta has done a lot throughout the season, is sticking to the same 11 or just making one or two changes here or there? Do you think Trossard gets a sniff in the starting 11?
I do. I would love to see him start against his previous
From the
club
club.
and
Yeah.
show up to Zerbi and whoever else was giving him shit and the reason why he left. So I would love to see him. Let's see, who should he start over? Honestly, I would like to see him start up top
Yeah,
over Jesus
Jesus.
for a match
I
and give
agree.
him some time. I think if there is one thing that Arteta needs to work on, and maybe it's because we just don't have enough of the depth that he would like right now, it would be in terms of what Pep's able to do. Like he cycles his team
Hmm.
incredibly
Yeah.
well, which is one of the reasons why they have such like minimal injuries. I think Holland was out only for 2 matches. De Bruyne has only been out for 2 matches the whole season.
Right.
And whenever you're not losing your core players like that throughout a season, you're going to have a better chance at winning titles.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that Arteta could probably work on, it would be cycling the team and using our depth more. But we obviously need the depth in order to be able to do that. But I do think that he can definitely place Trossard in up top for Jesus, just because of what Trossard's been able to produce for us. Maybe not in a sense of goals, but creativity, uh, ball hold up top, and just his movement as well and work
Yeah, I
rate.
think I think Trossard's been a little bit unlucky. He should have had a couple belters this year. He
Yeah,
hit
I
the
agree.
he hit a bunch of crossbars. Like a couple of them were offsides, but he definitely should have a couple more to his name, I feel.
Hmm. No, 1000%, 1000%. I agree with you. I think Trossard starts over Jesus tomorrow. However, like I said, we see Arteta likes to show the faith to some of the players, show his faith in some of the players. So I think if Jesus does get the start, I don't think he'll play the full 90. I think he'll come off probably pretty early in the second half if he does start. And I guess before I ask you guys your score predictions and your goal scorers, does Trossard celebrate? Do you think he's gonna celebrate? I say yes. I think he's
I
gonna
say
say
yes.
screw. He's gonna say
I
screw Brighton.
he's gonna he's gonna hold up those damn binoculars and look around the whole entire damn stadium,
Listen,
dude. He's gonna be running around the whole freaking pitch, just staring at all those fans.
I want to
Oh
say
man,
yes because of how he left, but I also want to say
no,
no
he's a
because
class
I feel
player.
like I feel like he's pretty respectful. So I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah,
true,
We'll see. We'll
true.
see.
yeah.
And then
I'd love to see the binoculars come
the
out.
binoculars coming
Everybody else on
out.
the
Yes,
team,
sir.
the whole rest of the team, even if he doesn't celebrate, the whole rest of the team's gonna be running up to him,
Oh,
holding
for
up the
sure.
damn
Oh, for sure.
binoculars.
For sure. And then
But I also
oh,
think,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no, no. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. You go ahead.
I was just gonna segue
Uh,
it. You're good.
uh, the rest of the lineup, I think Jorginho has earned the
Mm.
starting position
Hmm.
again.
I was gonna ask you guys
Um,
if you guys think Jorginho starts over Party.
Yes,
I think he should
I think
stay.
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Party's definitely you can tell he's a little bit tired maybe.
Mm.
Maybe there's not as much in the gas tank as we might think there is. I don't know. Um, but
I agree.
I think he's had a rough showing in the last handful of games, and like I said, part of that could be because of he has to cover more space because Saliba isn't there to do or like position as well as Kiwior or Holding, but
Right.
I do think Jorginho has come in and been absolutely fantastic for us. So
I
Yeah,
agree.
fuck off all those Chelsea fans that are saying that he was going to come and be like an
Double
agent.
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jorginho's
yeah,
been class for us. The Aston Villa last minute winner. I mean, obviously there's a bit of luck on our side for that, but that was obviously a screamer. I still think that was gonna go in if because Martinez had a fingertip to it, or did he not? Or if I remember correctly, they pushed it
Uh,
onto the bar, or did he just hit the bar?
no, I think it just hit the bar,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was it was actually going to be coming out. Like if Martinez hadn't dove and got domed by
Gotcha.
it, it was not going in. The
Shout out
dude took it straight to
Martinez.
his dome piece and put it in for us.
Shout out
Arsenal through and
Martinez.
through,
Couldn't,
baby.
yeah, as I say, couldn't keep his our names out of his mouth, and look at that, he helped us potentially win the league. So finally, just to end the preview, I want to hear you guys' score predictions and your goal scorers. We're gonna start with Ari, go to Doc, and then I'll finish off with mine.
I think I think Brighton will give us some trouble. I think they might score a goal or two. So I think I'll go. I think I'll go 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal. Who are your Arsenal goal scorers?
Uh, I want to say. I want to say Saka, uh, Martinelli, and Odegaard.
And Odegaard. Ah, yes. All right, Doc. How about you?
I was actually gonna go 3-1 as well. I think I think we're gonna probably see a Karamatoma goal for them either on the break because we do struggle with counters honestly when
Hmm.
defending. So I think they'll sneak one in, but I think we'll already be up either 2-0 or 3-0 by the time that happens. And I think the goals are gonna come from, let's see. I'm gonna go with Trossard starting. So I think we're gonna get one from Trossard. I think we're gonna get one from Saka and one from Martinelli.
Ah, bold. So we got 2-3-1s. I'm actually gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go with a 4-2. Just because I think with the goal difference with Man City possibly being a factor, Arteta might have a little bit of a word and say, "Listen, we got to start firing on all cylinders." For my Arsenal goal scorers, I'm going to go with probably, you know what? I would love to see Trossard bag one. I want to see Odegaard break the record tomorrow. And then I'm going to go with a cheeky little, because it's going to be the return of my star boy. It's going to be a cheeky little Saka brace tomorrow. And then I
That's
think
nice.
I think Matoma is gonna get one, potentially even both of Brighton's goals because he can find a goal out of nowhere. Like he's ridiculous. Would love to see him at the carpet next year for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
So before we wrap up, you guys have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it for me.
I think that's it from me as well. I'm excited for the match tomorrow, and come on, you Gunners.
Yes, sir. Come on, you Gunners. That is going to end it for our preview. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you made it all the way to the end, let us know your score predictions in the comments below. And stay tuned tomorrow after the match for our post game reactions. All right? This is Gooners Gone Wild, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Peace.